What's going on? Welcome to Tech with Sean, and Asustor sent over their Drivestor 4 NAS and some drives for me to check out, and I typically don't do sponsored videos, but they said I can make any type of video I want, and they don't have any kind of review control or anything over the final product, so I figured I might as well check it out, and today we're going to take a look at the Drivestor 4 NAS. If you're looking for an affordable, noob-friendly NAS, this might be a pretty good option. First, let's take a look at the unit itself. It's a pretty Spartan little box. There are 4 drive bays inside, a 120mm fan to keep everything cool. It has USB 3.2 ports on the front and back. There's a 2.5 gigabit LAN port. The whole thing's powered by a little external power brick, and that feeds the quad-core ARM CPU. This does only have 1 gigabyte of memory, which may not sound like enough to really do anything, but for what it's worth, all the tasks that I've tried on it so far, it's handled pretty decently considering. The memory is not user upgradable though, so if that's something that you know you're going to need, you might want to look further up their product stack at something like the Drivestor Pro. The initial setup was super easy. First I just slid off the top of the housing to access the inside, and I went ahead and mounted the 4 drives. Now they use a mostly toolless assembly, but I did opt to use screws on the side to anchor them in, just in case. Once I had all the drives populated, I went ahead and connected it to the network with an Ethernet cable and powered it on. Launching the Asustor software from my desktop PC, it found the NAS no problem, and it was up and running within minutes. By default, it was set to a RAID 5 array, and that's where it stores, pieces of the data on different drives and stuff. And that way, if one of the drives ever fails, you're able to take it out and replace it without losing any of your data. RAID 5 is a pretty useful setup for data storage, so I went ahead and left it as is. I had 4 4TB hard drives in there for a total of 16 terabytes, but in the RAID 5 array, by the time it mixes everything together, there's just a little over 10 terabytes of space left. I didn't need to do anything extra to be able to start dragging and dropping files from the PC desktop, creating folders, and other basic type of tasks. As an aside, this may be a duh moment for some people, but if you want to transfer files from an external hard drive, you can just go ahead and plug it directly into the NAS, and you're going to get better speeds that way using the File Manager app in the NAS than you will if you plug an external drive up to your computer and then copy them over the network. So while it's really easy to get up and running with basic file storage, there's really a lot more that you can do with it. You can set it up to back up your data to another external USB device from the NAS itself. You can do cloud backups. You can run things like Apache servers, and you can even stream your own media via Plex or Jellyfish. Streaming media to the different devices around my house really caught my interest, so I went ahead and downloaded Plex to the Drivestor 4. Setup for that was really painless. Plex has been at this for a while, and their software is pretty easy to use. I recommend setting up different folders for like TVs, movies, etc., and putting your files in there beforehand. Once you get Plex installed, you just point the different libraries to the different folders and tell it what kind of media is in there, and then it will scrape the data and cover art and everything for all of your media on its own. Once you have that Plex server set up on the NAS, you just go ahead and download the Plex client to the device you want to watch it on, like your smart TV or game console. Fire it up, log in. You might have to do some kind of like pairing with a code in your web browser or something, and once you get it running, all your shows are there ready to watch. You can run Plex from those library folders and still use the rest of the Drivestor for storing other files. It's not like a one or the other type of situation. Besides file storage and media server stuff, there is still lots of other things you can do with one of these though. They have their own App Store type deal on here, and it has everything from BitTorrent apps to web server stuff, so there's plenty in there to tinker with. I haven't really messed with it yet, but they also have mobile apps that let you access files from your phone and even back up your phone's photos and stuff to the NAS. This has mostly been a good experience so far. There are other NAS options out there, and some of those are going to have more open software platforms, faster processors, etc. But for something affordable and entry level, this works quite well out of the box. My biggest concern with it is that 1 gigabyte of memory, but anecdotally for the stuff I've used it for, that's streaming shows on Plex, doing basic file transfers and hosting and stuff, it's really not been an issue for me so far. All in all, it's a pretty decent little unit, and while it might not have all the bells and whistles that some of the more advanced NAS systems have, it really gets the job done for basic storage, and for an entry-level NAS system, there's really not a ton to complain about. I hope this video was helpful. Hit the like button if it was, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you in the next video.